Welcome to today's video. Today I am so excited because I am bringing back probably the most popular series on my channel, which is the MAC Training Secrets Revealed series that I started at the end of last year, and it was hugely successful. You guys seem to love it. It's been a while since I have uploaded a video as part of an extension of that series, so I thought that's what I'm going to film today. I'm going to film a new video for that series. If you are newer to my channel, you're not sure what I'm talking about, I used to be a MAC trainer, so that's actually how I started in makeup. I worked at the MAC counter, and I kind of worked my way up to being a trainer for the company. So I would basically train all the artists within my region on makeup artistry. And so I started this series to basically share tips and tricks and things that I would teach MAC artists when I was a MAC trainer. So if you haven't seen those videos, I will link them all down below for you so you can catch up on the series. But today we're going to be focusing on probably, I feel like this is the biggest, if I had to pick like one tip or takeaway that I learned from my time at MAC, I would have to say it is this. And it's silly because most of you guys are gonna see this trick and you're gonna think, I already see this in every other YouTube video and I already do this myself. But I wanna explain the why behind it, and I wanna take it a bit further. So what we're gonna be talking about today is what you guys probably know as transition colors, where at MAC we used to teach them as prime colors, priming the eye for your makeup. And I wanna explain the why behind doing that, right? Because I think that, you know, one thing I always try to do on my channel here is really break makeup down in an understandable and simple way. And the reason that I do that is so that while yes, it's fun to watch a video and copy the look and do a similar look inspired by a video that you watch, but it's also, I think, even cooler to kind of understand the why behind makeup theory and be able to kind of create your own looks by knowing that information. So I want to take it a step further and not only talk about transition color or prime color and why we do it, but I also want to show you how you can use that technique and how it makes wearing like bold colors on your eyes so much more wearable, so much more less intimidating, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Some of us love to wear bold colors every day, and there's some of us, if you're like me, this is me, I'm speaking about myself here, I usually wear neutral colors. I am more comfortable wearing like a neutral palette on my face. However, I see bold, beautiful colors and they're beautiful, and I want to teach you guys how you can wear them in kind of like a more toned down wearable way, and that's where the prime look or the transition color really comes in, and so I want to kind of break that down for you. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I do have most of my makeup on, foundation, concealer, blush, all of that good stuff. So we're really just going to be focusing on eyes. I have already primed my eyes. I've used the Milani eyeshadow primer. This is one of my favorite eyeshadow primers. You can see that I am in need of a new one. So I don't have any eyeshadow on, so we're going to start there first. Now, before we start with shadow, let me kind of break down what a prime color or a transition color is, or a crease color, or however you hear it referred to here on YouTube. Really what it is a matte shadow, and the reason you want it to be matte is because matte creates more definition. It's there because it's supposed to create some definition in the crease, right? It's supposed to define and make the crease a little bit more pronounced. So if you use a shimmer shadow, shimmer reflects light. You know, if you think about it, when you have a really foiled eyeshadow, it's like, it looks like it's coming towards you, right? It's reflecting light. So you don't want to use shimmer, you want to use matte. You also want to look for a shade that's neutral, like a brown tone, and you want to look for a shade that is several shades darker than your natural skin tone. Now this can vary, it doesn't necessarily have to be several shades, but you do want it to be a little bit darker than your skin tone. I would say anything from, you know, like 2 shades up to maybe 4 shades darker than your skin tone. You don't want it to be too dark though. You can always build and add darkness in your crease, but you really want to start your prime color, your base color, as being kind of like a mid-tone shade to your natural skin tone. So when I'm looking here in this palette, I have this palette, this is filled with Sydney Grace eyeshadows. This is a fantastic quality eyeshadow, very affordable. I believe you can only get it on their website though. I'll have everything I used linked down below, but all of these shadows are Sydney Grace. We're going to be working with all of Sydney Grace shadows with the exception of the brow highlight today. So when I'm looking in this palette, I see these 3 right here that could clearly be great transition shades for me. These could also be transition shades. They're obviously a lot warmer. If you're really trying to create the illusion of a shadow or a crease, then I would say go with a cool tone, because cool tones mimic shadows, actual shadows. You think of a light, I say this all the time. If you've been watching my videos, you're probably like, yes, Lisa, we've heard this, but some of you haven't heard this. If you imagine holding a flashlight to your forehead, you are going to have light cast on your face. where the light hits your face is going to be the high planes of your face. So that's your forehead, your nose, your cheekbones, right here above your lip. And if you think about it, that's where we always highlight, right? Well, you contour just below that because now you have shadows there. You have light hitting it, but then you also have a little shadow cast there. And shadows tend to resemble more cool tone colors. But I'm not saying you can't use warm as your transition shade. I'm not saying that. I'm just trying to kind of really break it down and give you, you know, everything that we used to train in MAC training. And that was our whole like prime color spiel. I am going to use this shade right here. You can see that it's definitely leans more warm, but it's not as warm or orangey as like this shade here. So let me tell you what shade this is, you guys. It is the shade San Diego by Sydney and Grace. I will show you what it looks like on the skin, on my skin. That is what it looks like. So you can see that it's a little bit deeper than my natural skin tone, but it could be close to a natural skin tone. So we're gonna pop that into the crease. Now, as far as like starting with your crease or finishing with your crease, I really think that's a personal preference. I used to always do my lid color first, and then for some reason I started doing my crease color first when I started working at MAC. And I think it's just because I noticed a lot of the other artists did it that way, and I don't know, I just picked up that habit and I've never really turned back. So I am using a tapered blending brush. So this brush is a little more defined at the tip, and it is tapered as it gets out here. So it creates a little wider kind of base here. So what that's gonna do is it's gonna apply the color in my crease and it's gonna kind of diffuse it above my crease. So I'm gonna apply that right here. I'm just gonna kind of work it back and forth. Now I did decide to go for a color that was a little bit deeper. This is about the deepest that I would go for my prime color. I would not go deeper than this. Now I could always go lighter. Okay, and for the sake of proving my point, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do one side with the prime look and the other side without it. And I'm gonna show you guys really how much of a difference it makes, especially when you're wearing bold colors on the eyes. So we're gonna just pop that onto the crease, blend it out, kind of shear it out. I am going to connect it down here to my lower lash line. Now, I always like to have my eyes open and looking directly at my mirror. I don't like to really close and try and get it right there in the crease, because the problem is when you open your eyes and you're talking with people, if you focus so much on getting it just in the crease, when your eyes are open, that color completely disappears. So it's really important to keep your eyes open like you normally, like a normal expression. Don't really raise your brows too much, unless of course you have eyes that are really hooded and you kind of have to do that to get where you want. But I find that maybe a slight raise of the brow and just looking directly into a mirror will give you the perfect placement for that shadow. Okay, for my brow highlight, I don't really have a good one in this palette, so I'm just gonna dip into this other palette here. It's the Naked Reloaded palette, and I'm just grabbing the shade Bribe, and I'm just gonna pop this under both brows just to get that out of the way. Okay, so I want to stop here really and just show you the difference between the two eyes. If I were to just cover this eye and you were looking at this eye where I created that crease, you really wouldn't notice that I have a lot of eye makeup on the eye. Because it's a neutral color, because it's matte, it kind of creates that definition without screaming eyeshadow. Now when you compare the two, clearly it's obvious that I have a lot more makeup on this eye than I have on this eye. I don't really have anything on this eye, but you can see how it's created definition, it's created lift in the eye. Now I'm going to go ahead and apply my lid color. And since I didn't do the crease color here, I'm just gonna go ahead and start here, and then I'm gonna go and apply it on this side. Now, I decided that we are gonna do this super fun, beautiful purple in here. I mean, how gorgeous is that shade? That is a bright shade for me. I never wear shades like this, but it's gorgeous. This is the color Deliverer is what it is. Let me show you what this looks like. So this is what it looks like. This is what it looks like in pan, highly reflective, kind of a pinky purple. And this is how it swatches on the fingertip. Very, very beautiful. And I'm gonna go ahead and just use what's on my finger to apply it. Why not? It's there. Oh my gosh, that is so gorgeous. Such a beautiful color. I do miss wearing, oh, I'd have quite a bit of fallout there. That is not good. Let me go clean that up. I'll be right back. Okay, so I moved to a brush. Since this shadow does appear to have a lot of fallout, I'm gonna pat it on my brush, but then I'm gonna kind of dab it on a towel or your hand just to remove any excess fallout. And I just realized that I said I was gonna start with this eye and I'm not, I'm starting with this eye. So I'm gonna pack this right onto the lid. Now I am not going to cover that crease up. So I'm really just packing this right onto the lid and stopping where that crease starts. Now, before we start on this eye, I want to point out that when you look at this eye, really what you see is that purple. That's the color that is standing out. You kind of fail to notice the crease color now. The crease color has really taken a back seat to that purple, but I want to show you how important it still is. Let me go ahead and apply it on the other eye that does not have a crease color. One thing that my mentor at MAC told me that I will never forget, she is full of really great sound bites. She was actually in a couple of videos of mine. I'll link those down below too. She was my boss. She told me, you know, when she would always explain prime color to artists, she would explain that imagine, you know, if you wore an outfit, if you wanted to wear this color as part of your outfit for the day, if you walked in and you had, you know, this purple hat and shirt and pants and bag and shoes, it's like a little too much, right? But if you come in, you've got cute, you know, dark denim or khaki colored or like a neutral colored bottom, and then, you know, that color is a top, or you're accessorizing and you have this color as a bag or a scarf or something like that, it just presents the look a little bit better. And it's kind of the same with the eye makeup, I believe. I feel like a bright, bold color can really be your accessory, but not kind of be the entire look. You know, you don't have to be matchy-matchy with like a purple on your lid and a purple in your crease. You know, you can really add that neutral in there to kind of balance and tone down the shade. Especially for those of us who don't really typically wear a lot of color, or who are more comfortable in neutral colors, but we still want to play with color a little bit. Okay, so now I want you to kind of look at the eyes and notice the difference. I feel like having that crease color in there, I'm actually going to go back and kind of just blend it a little bit more. Really just kind of tones down that color on the lid, and I feel like I can even add a little bit more now that I have that color on the lid and I see what we're working with. I'm going to go and add a little bit more of that transition shade. So next I'm going to add some more darkness on the outer corner. This is going to be kind of that color that really just adds that level of drama to the eye, a really dark color. And I'm going to do that on both eyes. And I think this is where you're going to see the biggest difference between using a prime color and not using one. So I'm going to dip in here and we are going to go with, let's go with this one right here. It's really dark. Actually, let's go with this one right here. This really dark brown matte shade. It's very, very dark. It actually looks lighter on camera than it is. It's called Beyond. So this is what it looks like, and I'm going to show you how it swatches on the finger. This is what it swatches. So it's a very deep kind of gray tone, brown, matte. And I'm going to apply this on the outer corner and blend it into the crease. Another benefit of having a prime color is when you add a dark matte color like this, they can be extremely difficult to blend sometimes. Having that prime color is going to help so much. So I have a couple of tricks for you when it comes to applying a color like this. One, if you have smaller eyes, and I feel like I have smaller eyes, it really helps to apply the color with a smaller brush like this versus a large blending brush. So I'm going to go in and map out where I want that color. Then I'm going to go in with my crease brush that I've already used and soften and blend it out. Dig in here. This is the Sigma E30 pencil brush. And I'm just going to place it right there in the outer corner and create almost this little like curved V shape. So I guess that would be a U. This little U shape. I'm not too concerned right now with it looking perfect. It kind of just looks like a splotchy mess there. Then I'm going to go back with my brush and I am going to soften that out. Then next we're going to go and do the same step on the other side without the crease color. So on this side all we have done is the purple color and then this dark color. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to apply that right in the same area and then I'm going to go and blend it out with my crease brush. Do you see how it's a little splotchier? It's harder. It's a harder blend. Do you see that? So I'm going to go in and actually dip my brush into the product and see if I can soften that a little bit. All right, and this is the completed look. I'm going to zoom you guys in a little bit closer so you can really see the eye makeup in a little bit more detail. Okay, so if you remember, this is the eye that had the transition color and this is the eye that did not. So I think you can tell by looking at the eyes clearly that this has just more of kind of a softer, more airbrushed look to it. The darker color is more blended. This one, you can see it's not as lifted when I'm looking straight ahead. The eye appears smaller. You kind of tend to notice that purple color more. The outer color is not as blended. It's a little bit splotchy. This just has a softer, more kind of, like I said, airbrushed look to it. So, and that really is a result of using that prime color, that transition color as I call it. It is a step that I never skip. Regardless of the look I'm doing, I always put a color in there. Now that color will vary, like I said, in shade range, depending on if I'm doing like a no makeup look or I'm doing something like this versus something a bit more natural. I might alter and tweak that transition color, take it down a notch, make it a little bit softer, but I always create and start my makeup look with that transition transition shade. I feel like it's just something that I never skip. It's like mascara or concealer. It's just something that is a non-negotiable for me. And I really wanted to explain why we do it and how it creates shape to the eye and enhances the eye shape. And also kind of allows you to wear fun, bold colors in an easier, more approachable way. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that you found it helpful. I will link my other MAC Training Secrets Revealed videos in the description box below, so be sure and check those out if you haven't seen those. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like. I would so appreciate that so much, and subscribe to my channel if you aren't already. I really focus on providing content here that is really educational. I think that's what I love most about makeup, is teaching people makeup, and I really like to break it down in a simple, understandable way and create looks that I feel like anyone can create. You know, I have watched so many videos before where I love the look and I get into it, and then I'm like 6 or 7 eyeshadows in and I'm like, this is too much. And I really try not to do that here on my channel. I try to create really simple, easy, attainable makeup looks. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all in my next one. Bye.